In the past several years, the world has witnessed countless groundbreaking technologies. From the telegraph to the radio to the television to cell phones and finally to the internet, each technology has proven to be more advanced than the last. As people and machines get smarter, people's curiosity gets larger, but somehow the window to discover information is getting smaller. The reason for this small window to discover information is the increase in government regulation. In the state of Indiana versus County of Delaware case, court employees' First Amendment right to free speech is taken, as several rules and regulations are implemented to control their personal social networking sites. In early September of 2011, the state of Indiana won the court case that would dictate their court employees' social media usage even when they are no longer employed by the County of Delaware. Some of the new regulations seem justified, but others are in complete violation to an employee's right to free speech. For example, one of the new regulations states that employees cannot post pictures of themselves in intoxicated conditions and are not allowed to make comments to or about other employees that may be perceived as negative. Now, keep in mind that members of the court are employees of the state. Some of them were elected or appointed to their positions. If they are deemed trustworthy and responsible enough to make decisions that govern the United States, then surely they are responsible enough to filter their own tweets or Facebook posts. A court case was hardly necessary to make these points, especially because court employees in Delaware County had done nothing to bring it upon themselves. It was a preventative measure. Judge Marianne Voorhees stated she ruled in favor of the state because there had been problems concerning court employees and social networking in other jurisdictions. Basically, the employees of the County of Delaware did nothing to spark this court case. However, other regulations court employees must now adhere to do not quite seem as ridiculous as the ones banning negative comments about other employees or intoxicated pictures. An understandable limitation is the one that restricts court employees from using work computers and emails to access social networking sites. This rule is one that is generally introduced to employees with a work manual or during their orientation. A court case was hardly necessary. When on the clock, employees should be working, not updating their MySpace. The court case has also banned what devices can and cannot be used for social networking. Employees may not use handheld devices to access the internet at work. What if an employee is on their break? For several people, the internet has provided an efficient way to connect with friends and family all over the globe. Also, establishing who exactly has the authority to check and regulate employees' iPhones or Blackberries will be a difficult task. Surely a person will not be permitted to rifle through another person's phone. That is a violation of privacy. And how will the court define an intoxicated condition photo or a negative comment? The fact that there is no solid definition for either of these things leaves room for interpretation and, in turn, room for argument. Believe it or not, the United States is not foreign to censorship cases. Have you ever heard of the Sedition Act? Passed on July 14, 1798, the Sedition Act declared that any treasonable activity, including the publication of any false, scandalous, and malicious writing, was a high misdemeanor, punishable by fine and imprisonment. The punishments for being caught on social networks is not quite as extreme as in the County of Delaware, but the fact that there are punishments at all is alarming. Employees may face warnings, unpaid suspensions, and termination if they are in violation of any of the regulations passed by Voorhees. Being fired from your job for a sarcastic Facebook comment is completely out of line. What exactly is the government trying to hide? As court employees, it is understandable that occurrences in the courtroom be kept confidential, but it goes beyond that. The United States government is beginning to resemble the government in George Orwell's classic novel 1984. In the novel, citizens are convicted of thought crime, which is a negative thought about or against the government, and punishment is severe. The citizen is virtually plucked from society. This thought crime is exactly what the state of Indiana is trying to prevent. They don't want their court employees writing negative things about the government, so they censor their employees. Censorship should not be tolerated, especially in today's society. The full-blown court case to censor employees was unnecessary and only further provokes citizens' interest in the government secret.